It's never good to see a roller coaster get removed, but theme parks sometimes have to. And a lot of times, these removals seem untimely, and you feel like that coaster should have stuck around for a few more years. But theme parks have some pretty good reasons on why they have to remove roller coasters from time to time. But what are these reasons? And why do theme parks remove roller coasters? Well, let's find out. There are a couple reasons why theme parks have to remove roller coasters, starting off with maintenance costs. As a roller coaster ages, maintenance costs increase, especially with wooden roller coasters. Theme parks have to replace more parts and put more time and effort into an aging coaster. And theme parks are businesses after all. And they're trying to make money. And they're trying to get a good ROI, or return on investment. Well, what the heck's return on investment? Let me explain. So basically, theme parks want to make more money than the amount of money that they put into the coaster on a daily basis. Whether that's covering construction cost or maintenance cost, they still want to make money off of each attraction at their theme park. So when maintenance costs rise and ridership decreases, that return on investment starts to shrink, and eventually it just disappears. Or even worse, maybe the park even starts to lose money on an attraction. Now, not all old roller coasters have a bad return on investment. For example, take the Beast at Kings Island. Kings Island most likely gets a great return on investment because the Beast is so popular. And that popularity offsets the maintenance costs of this massive wooden roller coaster that is now over 40 years old. Oh, and speaking of popularity, this is often another reason why theme parks remove roller coasters. It's declining popularity. Now, before we get into that, most of what I'm saying can also be applied to flat rides too, so you can keep that in mind. Theme parks will often want to remove rides that aren't popular with the public. Why, you may ask? I mean, it's another coaster. Well, sure, it is another coaster, but it's also another coaster that a theme park has to take care of, which means more money, more time, and more effort put into a coaster that necessarily isn't popular, along with not really adding any value to the guest experience. And if a coaster isn't popular, it's not going to be getting a good return on investment either. And it's probably just not enough to justify keeping a coaster operational. Because theme parks want to make money. I know, big shocker right there. And it sometimes just makes more sense to close an unpopular coaster and put in a brand new one that'll hopefully be much more popular. Oh, a new coaster you say? Well, another common reason why theme parks remove roller coasters is because they want to replace it with something a whole lot better. And what better place to do it than on the site of an aging roller coaster? This often isn't a bad option for theme parks because they can lessen the blow with a brand new, hopefully better, new roller coaster. And sometimes older, unpopular roller coasters are sitting on some prime real estate, and theme parks just sometimes pull the plug on an older ride so they can build a new one. And if you're a landlocked park, sometimes you have to remove a roller coaster to build a new one. And that just makes matters worse for some older roller coasters at landlocked parks. Because there's physically no way for these theme parks to get around this. They have to remove some roller coasters to build a new one. And sometimes that's disappointing. And sometimes the roller coaster isn't always as good as the one it replaced. But just keep in mind, sometimes theme parks, they just have to remove roller coasters. And it's not always entirely their fault. Well, why else would a theme park remove a roller coaster? Well, here's a reason you probably haven't thought of. Roller coasters have a limited lifespan, called their service life. And once a roller coaster reaches the end of its service life, it's very difficult for a part to get replacement parts from the manufacturer. And going back to the first reason, it just gets more expensive, hard to maintain, and you're probably not getting as good of a return on investment as you used to. And a lot of times, when a roller coaster reaches the end of its service life, theme parks kind of figure it's probably time for that coaster to go and get replaced. And this scenario has happened to a few coasters, including Vortex at Kings Island. So it's definitely happened, but I would say that this reason is probably the least likely of the reasons I've shown you earlier. I think it's much more likely for a park to want to replace it to put in something better, or because they're not getting a good return on investment on the attraction. It's rarely that a park just sees that a coaster has reached the end of its service life and they just get rid of it. It just doesn't really happen. They'll wait for another reason to remove it. Not just, oh, it hit the end of its service life. You know what, we should just remove it and move on. I hope I've given you guys a good explanation of why theme parks remove roller coasters. And I hope this pretty concise video gave you all the information you wanted to know. So, next time your favorite theme park removes a roller coaster, just know, there's probably a good reason behind it. They're not just removing it to remove it. There's gotta be a good reason. And you should probably also keep that in mind whenever a theme park makes a decision. They're trying to make the best decision they can. And remember, there's almost always a reason. And that's a wrap. That's all I've got to say. And if you enjoyed the video, then giving it a like would be an amazing way to say thank you. And a sub to the channel would be remarkable. You know, see what I did there? Remove, remarkable. Anyway. Thank you guys for watching. Have an awesome 2024. And I will see you all in the next one.